Hey everyone, it's Rushni. Today we are talking about a potentially obvious yet frequently overlooked cause of your depression. My theme for April is introducing you, identity, discovery, and creation. And I realize that I have been speaking about the topic of depression out here on Tabitha Brown's internet for a decade and a half. And so, inspired by a clip from a previous video, I am going to talk about a potentially obvious but frequently overlooked cause for your depression that might set you free. Before I do that, let me introduce myself. Hey everyone, I'm Rushni of glamazini.com. I'm a life coach. I'm also a Black woman healing. I intentionally create humor filled spaces so that other Black women can heal too. Amen. Uh, my Pineapple Crowns coaching membership is coming back. Yay! The soft launch is next Saturday. The membership is designed to provide a dedicated space for Black and West Indian women who are committed to breaking cycles, healing, and creating, not having, creating the whole authentic and joyful life that they deserve. Okay. Like I said, the soft launch is April 13th. If you are interested in working with me as your coach, thepineapplecrowns.com. The link is in the information box. You're very welcome. If you're here, drop a pineapple in the chat. I am going live right now on YouTube, on Facebook, in my Facebook group, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter X. Amen. Let me know where you're watching from. I have notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because your girl does not want to forget anything, because this is one of my favorite. Yes, depression is one of my favorite topics and one of my most important topics. And I feel like what I say today is going to help you. Also, later on in the video, you're going to have to get out your notebooks. Okay. It's like an activity. Y'all know I like to walk through an activity with you that's going to set the captives free. Okay. So today I don't have a guest. It's just me. Before I go on, last week I was not live. Why were you not live, Rushni? I'm glad you asked. I was not live because I had a guest scheduled to come and talk about her finding her why and finding her purpose. Because but I had to attend a wake, a funeral, a burial, a repast, and a partridge in a pear tree with myself, my husband, and my son, who is a wheelchair user. And by the time I did all of that last week, I rescheduled with the guest because I was knocked all the way out. Hey, not your mom from Philly. Hi. And I hope that by doing that, I am modeling for you all the intentionality behind allowing yourself to rest. Because the messaging that we get is that we don't get to rest. I chose intentional rest because I needed it. I was physically drained, I was emotionally drained, and I decided not to go live last week. But I'm here now. Amen. So thanks for being with me. Okay, before I begin, every month I highlight a Black women author. Amen. And we are in a new month. So this month's book, boom, this is my friend. Okay, this book is Dream Plan Succeed, Building a Business and Brand That's Perfect for You by YouTuber and my cyber sister, Tony Daly. Okay, links to how you can find this book on Tony's site is in the information box of this video. And if you are a Black woman author and you would like a chance to be featured, links on how you can do that are also in the information box. Hi, Beverly. Hi. Oh, big up, VI Massive. Amen. All right. So, Rushni, who are you? Why are you out here talking to me about depression? I'm not going to assume that everyone knows my story because that'd be too much. However, I have been out here talking on the internet about depression in some way, shape, or form for the past 15, 16 years. Okay. If you don't know anything about my depression story, all you have to do is Google glamazini depression and the receipts will receipt for you. Okay. I am not new to this mental health conversation. I'm foundational, especially in the Black Christian woman space. It was me back then, just talking all by myself. So, what is my depression story? In the late 90s, when I moved to St. Louis, I was not feeling like myself. I had not been feeling like myself for years. So I went to my primary care physician, told him what the issue was. They told me to go and speak to a psychiatrist. I went to the psychiatrist. It was everything that you see in the movies. It was a gray drab building with low ceilings. I was sitting on a long room across from a sparsely decorated room, dimly lit, sitting across from a guy in a suit that looked like Freud with a clipboard. It was very stereotypical. He asked me a few questions. He told me that I have major depressive disorder. And he prescribed me medication. Okay. The long short is I did not stay on the medication. I went on it, I went off it. I just don't like how medication feels. However, I do not knock medication as a modality to help you with depression. Okay. That is my story. Over the years, I have had many years of therapy to assist me with healing my mood difference. I don't call things disorders, but right. And recently, last year, 2023, I was re-diagnosed with major depressive disorder during an ADHD evaluation. Yeah, you heard that right. So I went in to be evaluated to see if I had ADHD. Turns out I don't have ADHD. Okay. However, I do have an IQ that's higher than most of the population, which is still something that I'm chewing on and learning about. Okay. And she diagnosed me with major depressive disorder. So I have been living, thriving, healing from depression for over 20 years. Okay. Over 20 years. Hi, Southern Rose Tia D. Hi. Good afternoon where you are. It's afternoon where I am now. Okay. Yay. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully this is going to help you. Hopefully this is going to help you. Okay. So another thing I want to establish before I move on is I have come up with my own definition of depression, right? What is that, Roshini? Depression is the opposite of expression. I don't know if anyone else says that. If they do, please let me know. I am basing this off of years of lived experience, years of therapy with multiple practitioners, and years of coaching other women who are living with depression. In my mind, depression is the opposite of expression. Let's go a little deeper into that because this is going to help you when I get there. Okay. I looked up the definition of depression, and the definition that works well for what I'm going to help y'all with is the action of lowering something or pressing it down. Yes. It comes from the Latin word that means to press down. Yes. Let's say I'm filling up my suitcase and I can't get all my clothes in. If I cover the suitcase, sit on it, press it down, and try to zip it, I'm depressing the top. Yes? You with me? Good. So what is expression, Roshini? Why are you saying depression is the opposite of expression? I'm glad you asked. I looked up the definition for expression, and expression is the production or something, especially pressing out or squeezing out, right? From the Latin root to press out, to express. So before we go on, my definition of depression is the opposite of expression. And what is depression? To press down, to squeeze in, to contract, to constrict. You following me? And what is expression? To press out, to expand, to squeeze out, to express. Yes? Okay. I'm going somewhere. Southern Rose TAD says, I've never heard that before, but it sounds like the perfect way to describe it. It is my experience. It is my lived experience. I have ran it by therapists. Ain't nobody told me I'm wrong yet. They said it feels about right to them. And I have used that framework when working with coaching clients to great gains. Okay. I have helped people get out of the depression burrito in their bed and accomplish great things with that concept in my mind. That depression is pushing down and expression is pushing up, and depression is the opposite of expression. Okay, so once again, today, what are we talking about? We are talking about why you're depressed, a potentially obvious, yet frequently overlooked, in my estimation, cause of your depression. And it is inspired by a conversation that I had on the previous video where I went live with social worker, healer, and educator Marissa Price. A couple weeks ago, Marissa and I had a conversation, a very powerful conversation. It's a video on all the platforms that you're watching on called Return to Yourself. You were always enough. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the clip from the video that inspired today's video. And then we're going to go on. Okay. Hopefully, I'm going to pull the clip up. Let me know if you can hear it. I pray you can hear it because this is the first time trying to do this. All right. First of all, can you guys see that? If you're watching, let me know if you can see Marissa and I on the screen. We so cute. Can you guys see that? Yes, Beverly says yes. Okay, I'm about to play it. If you can hear it, also let me know. Ready? Here we go.
Important to emphasize that there is an after period, because a lot of us are in that phase where everything's like breaking apart. You're like, how am I ever going to get through this? And that's really where the depression sets in. Like sometimes the suicidal ideation sets in because you see everything falling apart. You realize it's not aligning with you. But a lot of us are not told that there is an after to that. In the people who you're meant to be around, your people will be like attracted to you, right? And you attracted to them as you become more of your authentic self. And your life will start to like form anew after that. There's an after period to that.
Which is the healing, which is the closing of the wound, right? That's so important because a lot, we do get stuck in the depression and all of that and the anxiety over like, I have to fit in. I have to fit in. Brene Brown makes a distinction between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in is having to shave off pieces of yourself and fit a certain criteria to be in a space or an environment with people. Belonging is you show up 100% as yourself and you belong. You're accepted as you are without a bunch of changes, and you know what I mean? And so we don't ever have an example of belonging. We have a lot of messaging that tells us that fitting in is how you're supposed to do it. Take this part off of you, take that part off of you, add this thing that ain't even you. Girl, who is that? I don't even know who that is. You know what I mean? And then we're unrecognizable to ourselves, and that feeling of being unrecognizable to ourselves can manifest in depression and sickness and lack of sleep and all of that. And you're right. We don't know that there's something after that. So we just get stuck in that space for weeks, months, years. For me, it's years, and thinking there is no after.
Yeah, that's true. And can I say, like, that's one of my criticisms of like the mental health field, right? In putting diagnoses, even though realizing these can be very important in like developing a treatment plan if you are experiencing these things. But it's like a lot of the things we're experiencing are spiritual transformations. And when you don't have spirituality in something like mental health, it's going to feel like this is just you. You are just depressed, right? Putting a label on you instead of realizing this is part of a grander thing, a grander trajectory in your life, that you are headed towards something like a rebirth almost. So yeah, that's one of my criticisms.
I have the exact same criticism.
Really?
I knew I liked you. This is so crazy because I always say that I hate labels, but I also understand why they're there.
Yeah.
And I have even started, when I started my healing journey, I am not, listen, she is a social worker. Okay. I am a bootleg intellectual who likes to read research studies. Okay. At first I was like learning about all of these like disorders, and I was meeting people who were getting diagnoses. I was getting my own, you know, alphabet soup of mood diagnoses. I got PTSD over here. I got a little MDD sprinkled on it. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, I've literally stopped saying the disorder word. I changed it to difference.
I love
because
that. I love that. Yeah.
I realized that I did not like how the labels confined people to a set of behaviors.
Yeah.
Because I felt like sometimes when you label a thing, depending on the human, because we're all different, we can then perform and behave to the label.
It's true.
And I didn't like it. I did not want to, just because you say I have a major depressive disorder.
Yeah.
I was like, actually, no, I just have a depressive difference. I have a lower default mood than most people for valid reasons. That was what I say, because some of this is depressing.
Exactly.
That's the point. Okay, y'all trying to tell me I got depression.
Yes.
But some of this is depressing.
Yes.
And the fact that you can sit here, I feel this, so I have to get it out, and be in this depressing environment and be chipping all over the place is concerning to me. Because where is your perception?
Uh-huh.
You can't smell that?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
Like literally, I was like,
Uh-huh.
y'all trying to tell me that I'm depressed. This is depressing.
Mhm.
Y'all don't see all this stuff happening in this system, this society, this job, this environment, this city, this girl.
Yeah.
I had to literally like change the labeling and be like, I get it. It helps me speak to other people
Mhm.
about a set of behaviors
Yes. Mhm.
that are often, what's the word, survival mechanisms
Mhm.
for a valid thing that had happened.
Right.
That's how I look at like all of the disorders now. I'd be like, there's something going on neurologically, there's something going on psychologically, there's something that happened in this person's experience
Yeah.
that validly, that combination
Mhm.
came up with this behavior and we call it this.
Mhm.
That don't mean you stuck there though. That means that we know it's there.
Mhm.
There are things you can do that can influence your outcomes.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
ultimately, it's helpful when it's not, until it's not.
Mhm.
Like I don't want it to confine.
Yes.
So I love that you said that because I also feel that way. I don't like this label that much because I don't want to be confined in the label.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
I think that depression is all there is, it's never going to dawn on me that I have agency to remove myself from a validly depressing situation.
Mhm.
Well, I'm preaching
Yep.
now. Hello?
It's true.
And if I have the ability to realize that thought, then it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I should move to Guadalajara. You know what I mean? As opposed to maybe I should just figure out how to stay in this depressing space
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
make it better.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So important to
Boom, she's back. Okay, so that snippet is from a video I did with Marissa Price, social worker, healer, and educator, a couple weeks ago. A link to the entire video, if you missed it, is in the information box of this video. It's called Returning to Self. But that snippet that I just played you is what inspired today's video. Okay? The frequently overlooked, yet potentially obvious reason for your depression might be because what you are experiencing, ready for this? This is mind blowing. It's simple. What you are experiencing is depressing. You might be having a valid response to a depressing situation. Okay. Not your mama, not your mom says, therapy unfortunately didn't work for me. I was never understood. I was quickly labeled and heavily medicated. Yeah, there's a lot in there. I love therapy. However, it has taken me years to fine tune what sort of practitioner, what sort of clinician works what best for me. So I totally understand that therapy is not for everyone. Personally, when I've actually worked with therapists that were not a good fit, which has happened, I've gotten good over the years of figuring out who's going to move me forward and who's not. Okay. But I'm really sorry that that happened to you. So let me put the disclaimers out there. First disclaimer, I wrote down my disclaimers. Okay. So I don't forget, because I realized after years of speaking about the topic of depression out here on the internet that this is a sensitive subject. Okay. I could tell you guys stories, so many stories. And so I'm addressing this topic with the sacredness and the complete understanding of how nuanced everyone's experience is. Okay? If you're watching this live or on the replay, please note I have been in the darkness. I have been in the pit. I have been in the not getting out of bed. I have been in the waking up every morning and just being so upset that I had to wake up and being like upset that God woke me up. I have been in the depth. Okay. So I'm not saying, you see me all pineappled up. I put eyeliner on for y'all today. I'm cute. Okay. Y'all see this version of me, but I know the deep sorrow that is experienced on a daily basis by people who are living with depression. Okay. Depression is complex. These are my disclaimers. Depression is multifaceted. Depression is unique to every individual who has experienced it. Amen. I am not a mental health professional. Okay. I am talking to you as a life coach, as a sister, as a Black woman, and as a woman who has lived successfully and is healing through depression all these years. Okay. That's the information that I can give you. Please consult a mental health professional, right? I am a stranger on the internet. That's what I'm going to say. The next thing I want to say very quickly is because depression is multifaceted, I am not currently speaking about the physical or the neurological potential causes of depression because those exist. What do you mean, Roshini? Neurological means the way that your brain works. People's brains are wired differently. And my God, if we could just figure that out, like the fact that most of us think all of us are working with the same brain is like half the problems that we exist with in this society. Many of us are living with brains that operate differently. Yes. And so there are some brain setup formatting that could be contributing to your depression. I'm not talking about that. Okay. I am not talking about that. I'm also not talking about the physical things that you can change or that you can address that affect depression. I actually I found a list of quick scientifically proven things that help treat depression in the physical space. I don't know if I put a link to it in the information box. I'm gonna put a link to it when I'm done here. Okay. I'm not talking about that. Like many of you may know that I changed how I eat. And this is probably like 6-7 years ago. And that highly affected how my mood disorder difference was showing up. I'm also not talking about that in this video, okay? But I want to acknowledge those things because I know that when somebody is living with depression, the filter through which they hear things can hear me saying something I am not saying. I'm not saying if your brain works differently. I'm not saying if you have actual physicality things affecting your depression, that this is the reason. But I am here to offer something that in my mind, I don't think we talk about enough. I don't think we talk about it enough because I think our medical system is, what's the word I'm looking for? Trained to treat symptomology and not to be preventative. And so if you are a person who wants to be trained, they are trained to treat emergency situations and not necessarily to stop you from being depressed. It's like once you're depressed, what can we do? And typically the offering is often to medicate you. Yes. So I'm here preventively. I'm upfront. Okay. So once again, why am I depressed, Roshini? Now I got all the disclaimers out of the way. Why am I depressed? You might be depressed, boo-boo, because what you are experiencing is depressing. You might be depressed because you are having a validly depressing experience in this life, in a portion of your life, and nobody is acknowledging the fact that it is depressing. What is depressing? It is pressed down. It is lowered. It is compacted. It is contracted. Okay. It is limited. It is limiting. It is causing you sorrow, sadness, taking away your joy, making you feel unsafe, making you feel fearful, making you feel worryful. You could be in a situation where externally people are saying, press on, keep going. Everybody else is doing this, but you validly feel some kind of way. Okay, if I'm talking to anybody, let me know because I don't see nobody in the comments. So I feel like I'm talking to myself. Let me know in the comments 2 things. Have you ever lived with depression? Is there anybody out there who has felt depressed and or actually has a depression diagnosis in any way, shape, or form? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, have you ever thought about this? The reason why I want to bring this up and I showed you guys that clip is because I found in my own treatment and in working with women as their coach that the messaging that we get in America, especially in a Black body, okay, a Black female body especially, is that we should be able to do all the things. We should be able to press on. And so we see this what's the word, Lord? This pre-existing version of how we are supposed to show up as a Black woman in America. And if we don't fit into that messaging, what the system, this sounds so woo, but it's true. What is provided to us is ways for us to fit into the system. The question and the solution that I want to offer to you guys is maybe that is why you are depressed, because trying to cram yourself into a system that does not let you be your authentic self is depressing. Okay, let me go to the comments. Not Your Mom says, I still struggle and have been clinically diagnosed. Okay. Yeah. I don't use the, I'm not saying this for you, not the mom. I'm just pointing it out because you brought this to my attention. I also don't use the word struggle when it comes to depression because I don't adhere to, if you heard in the clip, I don't adhere to a lot of labels and messaging anymore that has been handed to me by others. It is challenging. It is definitely a different way of showing up in the world, right? I have a lower window of tolerance when it comes to mood than most people. I believe I have a lower window of tolerance when it comes to mood because I have a higher sensitivity to BS. I'm gonna just say it. I'm showing up as 1% more Roshini every day. I think that the reason why I have a lowered mood is because I can see through a lot of this crap. And I've been trying to contort to it so many years that I have a higher sensitivity to BS. And if I'm being honest, I feel sometimes that when I meet other people who are diagnosed with depression, they're given the same vibe. They're given the same vibe. You have a lower, you can sniff out the foolishness and the fooly wang quickly while everybody else is walking around in their little meat suit playing the game. And you're looking at them like, how in the world? Like in the clip I just showed you guys, you can't smell this? So sometimes I hear you say struggle, but I just want to offer you, Not Your Mom. It could be that you just have a higher BS meter. Okay. You have a higher BS meter. Yes, ma'am. And a lower tolerance. You have a higher sensitivity to the depressing things in this world. Tasha said, this is on time for me. I just emailed my therapist about depression. Talk it out. Talk it out. Okay. Therapy has been absolutely integral on my healing journey over the years. I don't know who this says. It just says Facebook user when you don't do the little sign in. It meant so much to be in 2020 and 2021 when I asked you a question about mind management and your response was, you are having a reaction to a validly concerning situation. Listen. I can't even see who it is talking to me. But this is what I'm trying to offer y'all. Okay. You are having a valid reaction. I'm not saying all of it. I gave you the disclaimers before. You might be having a valid reaction. The reason why you are depressed, sis, let me help you. Okay. Two. Oh, Nadia, hi. Give me a second. Hi, Nadia. I love you. I miss you. Okay, bye. Okay, wait. Focus. Okay. Here's the thing. When you go speak to people about depression, they will tell you a lot of things. And a lot of those things that they're going to tell you is how to continue in the mess that you are in. I am trying to offer you an off ramp that may not be brought to you by anyone else. Okay. An off ramp that I have taken, that I have met many other people who have taken, that I have coached other women to take. Okay. That I believe is a valid way to show up in this world. Because you only live once. This is your whole life. And because if you can't go down a depressing path, is the problem really with you or is it with the path? Okay, let's keep going. So she got it quoted. I think the reason you have a lower mood is you have a higher sensitivity to the foolishness. Absolutely. Let me share this with you guys so that you guys know that I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Last year, when I went for my ADHD evaluation, when the lady got on the call to tell me whether or not I had ADHD, she revealed to me that I have an IQ that's higher than most of the population. I said, what now? Because I wasn't aware that the woman was testing my IQ. She had me in there for 2 days doing all of these things and I didn't know what was going on. Okay. I was just trying to find out if I had ADHD. Turns out your girl does not have ADHD, but your girl tests higher than average on 3 of the 4 IQ markers. Had no idea she was doing that. And on the 4th marker, I test average. Okay. On 2 of the markers, I test in the 70 something percentile, but in 1 of the markers, I test in the 99th percentile, which means, according to the psychologist that did my test, you are not going to meet a person like me unless you look for them. She told me you are not going to meet a person who test that high in that specific part of the IQ test unless you look for them. Okay, I understand that these tests are fallible. I'm not saying this test is a gospel, but guess what the part was that I have 99 percentile? Which one? Perceptive reasoning. What is that, Roshini? It means I can read the room at the 99th percentile on an IQ test. I can take all of the perceptive senses, including the sixth sense, the perception sense, and I test higher than most human beings on the planet, which brings me back to what I've been trying to tell people, and I'm telling it to them with more vigor now, okay? I'm telling it to people with more vigor that maybe you are depressed because this is depressing. Maybe you are sensing something and having a valid reaction to an experience in your life. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to walk you through. This is where you want to get your notebook out if you want to have a little activity time, Amen. I'm going to walk you through some spaces, some areas in your life where I'm going to give you examples. Also, areas where you can assess, take a look at, step back, and maybe for the first time, contemplate, consider, okay, that you might be having a validly depressing experience and therefore responding appropriately. Yes? Remember in the clip I told you that started this whole thing. I said, I'm depressed because this is depressing. Yes? Okay, so let's walk through this. So if you want to actually do like a little exercise, you're free to do this, or you could come back and watch the replay of this video, right? First of all, let's set some definitions again. If you remember, my definition of depression is the opposite of expression. What is depressed? To lower, to press down, to constrict, to limit. Yes? To stop. You see my, right? Expression is to let free, to press out, to expand, to allow, limitless. Yes? Yes. Okay. A couple more words I want to define. Activity. We all know what activity is. Activity is the condition in which things are happening or being done. It comes from the Latin word that means to act or to do. So activity is what you do. Okay. So when I go through these different areas of life that I want you to think about, the way that you're going to change in these spaces is considering what you do and what you don't do, what's happening and what's not happening. Yes? Okay, good. The next word I want to just bring up real quick is what health, the definition of health, just the word health. I wrote down health is the absence of disease or infirmity. That's what the definition says. I'm going to add in there that health in an area can be measured by the absence of depression because we're talking about depression right now, right? So health in that area is expression in that area. It's the absence of lowering down. It's the absence of limiting. It's the absence of you showing up as a limited, shattered, shaved off, inauthentic version of you in this space. Okay? Okay. So I got a few different sections of life. And we're going to walk through it. Okay, let me say, I don't want to say your name wrong. Asanta. Asanta? I hope that's right. Okay, she says, yes to both. I'm noticing more and more that I'm reacting to things that other people aren't seeing. So I'm learning to pay attention to what I notice and how I'm affected by it. Good for you. Time, prayer, and acceptance help me discern how to navigate both what I'm noticing and the fact that many others can't relate. That's the story of my life. An aside, the psychologist that gave me the report about my IQ and ADHD and all that, she literally told me that my whole life has probably been marked by me wondering why I'm the only person coming up with a conclusion when I go into a space. And it has negatively affected my self-concept and contributed to my depression. And she was very adamant and very thorough in explaining to me that if I understood how my brain worked, that something isn't wrong with me, something is, in her words, not my words, effing right. That's what the woman said to me. Okay, I have it on tape because I recorded myself when she was telling me. You go on to say, accepting the reality of my own perspective instead of trying to conform to others has been so healing and grounding. That's listen. She threw it out there for y'all. Catch it if you can. Okay, we think something's wrong with us. That results in a lowered self concept over time that becomes a depressive state. I want to offer to you, bring back here. Maybe something's not wrong with you. Maybe you are having a valid reaction to something that is depressing. Maybe you are having a valid reaction to something that makes you feel bridled. Maybe you're having a valid reaction to something that makes you feel unsafe, something that makes you feel unheard, unseen, limited, some space where you feel like you have to break pieces of yourself off to show up there. Okay, I made the distinction between fitting in and belonging. Brene Brown has this in The Power of Vulnerability. Fitting in is having to meet a set of criteria so that you can come here. All of us are this way. And if you're not this way, this is not for you. Belonging is come as you are. Belonging is show up as your authentic you. And we will accept you. Okay. Remember, my theme for this month is introducing you, identity, discovery, and creation. Okay. That's what we're talking about. All right. So let me go down here. So I define depression to push down, to limit, to shave off, right? I defined expression to expand, unlimited, to let out. Yes. Activity is what you do. Health is the absence of depressing something. So you're not pushing it down. Okay. Here are the areas I want you to look at in your life. Feel free to write this out with a piece of paper or just to say it, say your answer with me. Drop your answer in the comment section wherever you're watching. Okay. The easiest place is relationships because we all, relationships is an easy topic. Okay. Let's look at our relational expression, our relational activity, and our relational health. If you look at your relational expression, meaning how you show up in your relationships, how expansive you can be in your relationships. Relationships include a spouse, a partner, your family members, your friendships, right? Even like your coworkers, how you relate to other human beings. Can you be yourself? Can you show up fully as you in these places? Which is expression. If you can't, that might mean that you are depressing yourself. You are the definition. You're shrinking yourself. You're breaking off pieces of yourself so that you can fit in with your family members because this part of you is not acceptable. You're breaking off pieces of yourself so that you don't upset your spouse or your partner. You have a friend where you can't be your full authentic self with this person because they jealous of you. Girl. Sorry. Let me take a sip. That facial expression was rough, girl. Get. They got low level ways of showing up in the world, and you out here trying to heal, and they out here trying to show up all raggedy and stay where they are. Okay, if that's the case, then you might be in a depressing relational state and validly depressed. Okay, so let's talk about the activity. What is activity? Activity is what you do, right? And the health of those spaces. Evaluate the health of those spaces. What I tell you health was? Health is the absence of depression. Are you depressing yourself in those spaces? When I say depressing, I mean shrinking, breaking off pieces of yourself so you can fit in. Do you exist in spaces that are validly depressing relationally? And boo boo, if you do, then that might be contributing to why you're depressed. I know that the messaging is and often will be just figure out how to be in those spaces. I have gotten that messaging. Listen, I have been told that messaging from family members. It don't matter how much you come and tell the person that this situation is depressing and shaving me off and breaking me into pieces and I'm coming asunder. I have been looked at full in my face by pastors, by family members, by friends, and been like, the messaging they give me is, well, here's how you stay in the mess. Here's ways to stay in the mess. Here's ways to handle that difficult person and stay around them in a work environment, in a church environment, in a family environment. But boo boo, maybe you need to have a physical boundary. and excuse yourself from places that make you depressed because it is an unhealthy space and you are depressed because instead of trying to remove yourself from an unhealthy space, you in there trying to figure out how you could stay in the muck and the dirt relationally. Moving on. The next space I want you to assess is social and like community expression, activity, and health, right? What does that mean, Roshini? It's beyond just your like one-on-one interactions, like spouse, partner, whatever. It's your larger groupings of humans, right? Inside of that, I'm also going to add like systemic stuff. I mean, that's a big jump, but I'm just gonna put it there. Let me say this to you. As a Black woman, if you are not being intentional about curating, what is curating, Rashni? Intentionally causing to be. Think about a curator at a museum. Them suckers go out and they pick, they pick, they pick, and even that's a little problematic, but we're not gonna go there. Okay. They pick, they pick. If you are not being intentional about curating your community, your social experiences, and your systemic experiences, boo-boo, you depressed by default. Because in this Black body, in this female body in America, it's depressing. And I don't have nothing else to tell you about that. Okay. It's the truth. This game is not rigged in our favor. Amen. So the only way that you, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, okay? But you might be out here knocking yourself because you can't ride the system when the system is built to ride you. Boo boo. Okay? So unless you want to be sucked under by the vortex that is the sorry, I got all the way live. Unless you want to be sucked under by the vortex that tends to tell Black women that all they got to do is get better, be better, okay? And you out here crumbling under the weight of ridiculous expectations. I'm going to offer to you that unless you intentionally curate where you are showing up socially and look for communities that allow you to expand, remember expression, to take up space, to fill in all the crevices, to show up as yourself, to speak. If your mouth feels bridle in your social and community spaces, then you are going to validly experience some level of depression. Okay. If you are only living, it's impossible to not be in depressing spaces, unfortunately, especially as a Black woman. But I'm saying if you don't curate spaces where you don't feel unbridled, right? Like this, you see, y'all watching this? This is one of my spaces where I don't feel unbridled. I'm coming in hot. Okay. If you don't curate it, then boo boo, you are validly depressed because you're being silenced. And remember what I told you? Depression is shrinking something down. It's limiting it. You are being limited. And therefore you are experiencing valid depressive symptoms. Next thing, your job. Your work, your business, your career, your impact. Listen, Dr. Kamani, I saw you. Kamani said boundaries are essential. This is Kamani, Dr. Kamani Norton Sands, Uplifting as We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. Okay. She is like the Harriet Tubman of getting Black women out of toxic job environments. She is a toxic job survivor. And I love that for her. She and Marissa Price, who I showed earlier in the video, are putting on the Job Liberation Summit. I'm going to tell you all about that in a little bit more. If you want to know right now, go in the information box. Link is there. Okay. Are you in a work environment that is depressing? What did we say depressing was? We said depressing was you can't express, you can't expand, you can't innovate, you can't show up, you can't speak, you can't bring your authentic you to the table. Your gifts have not made room for you. Your gifts are being shaved off. If you are getting up every morning and thinking to yourself, oh God, not this again, and you have to put on an entire different persona to go into your work environment, boo-boo, that's why you're depressed. I'm like, listen, I feel like this is so simple, and yet we are told by so many people that we need to learn how to conform, break off pieces of ourselves, add on things that aren't even us. We can't speak like ourselves. You go into your office, you have a different hairstyle, you don't have your voice. You're not wearing clothes you would usually wear. You got to be like that for 8 hours a day. And then you in there asking somebody, well, why am I depressed? What I tell you depression was lowering of something, pressing it down, shaving it off, limiting it. You might be depressed. Kamani said, yes, toxic jobs are depressing and soul sucking. Precisely. So you might be depressed because your work environment, your career path, your job path, the environment that you are participating in is validly depressing. So what do, Roshini? Figure out how to live in an expressive work environment. Figure out how to create an expressive job environment. Figure out how to put your gifts out into the world so that you can be expansive, so that you can show up whole, so that you can show up like yourself, so that you can wear your hair the way you want to, so that you could talk the way you want to, so that your gifts, your actual gifts, not the things that people are telling you to come with, the things that you are designed to bring into this world can show up, because depression is the opposite of expression. So figure out how to express yourself in these spaces. And I promise you, it will help pieces of your depression lift. Let me go to this real quick since I'm here. And Kamani just said what she said. Kamani, Dr. Kamani and Marissa Price are putting on the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women. If you are a Black woman who is in a toxic job, if you are like I was and you're crying in the parking lot of your job, like I used to be bawling in the parking lot. If I had a boss take me into a room and cuss me out for an hour, okay, just foolishness. If you live in that treacherous Black woman life, you do not need to go get another degree, boo boo. You do not need to start a nonprofit, Black woman. Cease and desist, okay? Register for the Job Liberation Summit. They are putting it on. It's happening May 18th through 19th. The link for how to do so is in the information box of this video. The speaker lineup is amazing. They have 2 solid days of helping Black women heal from and remove themselves from toxic job environments, including practical tools. Amen. They're going to help you with the strategy. They're going to help you get out of it. They're going to help you to your path of expression in that space. Next space I want you to think about, financially. Is your money funny? This is a space that I am working on myself. Okay. I have a lot of financial trauma wounds. I have a lot of really wonky messaging when it comes to finances and how I thought I was allowed all these words, permissive words, to show up in these spaces, right? I shaved myself down to just being able to make money doing things I didn't like. So somewhere in my journey, my financial health and my financial expression was stunted. And I thought I could only make money doing things I didn't like. If I liked it, I couldn't make money. That was my messaging. Okay. What did that show up like? It showed up like me choosing to go in directions with my education and then subsequently my job, specifically and only based off of what would make me the most money, not what would bring me joy, not what would have me show up expressive and whole. And therefore, from jump, I was set up for failure. So financially, my expression was depressed, and therefore I was depressed. So I want you to look at that. Are you linking your money to something funny? How is your emotional financial state now? Do you have wonky messaging in you, unhealthy messaging about your finances? Like I did, like I still do, like I'm healing from right now. And is that contributing to your shrunken, limited, and lower state validly, right? Validly. That's what I want you guys to get. You could be having a valid response. How does that look, Roshini? Let's say you work in a job and your financial path is very limited. You want to go up, ain't no up for you. Or as a Black woman, they ain't letting you up. They putting you sideways. They demoting you. They all over the place, right? And you are looking at your finances and realizing your finances ain't growing. That is a limited state to be in. There are spaces and resources out here on Tabitha Brown's internet. What a time to be alive, you guys. 2024 is a time to be alive. There is so much information out here to help us heal and grow and to bust up get our liberty out of a lot of these spaces. Okay. If your money is funny and you feel like you're stagnant and therefore you're depressed because you are in a path that is not letting you show up as your authentic self, because gifts make room for themselves. And one of the things that I'm noticing about when I put my actual gifts out into the world is money is just the energy of value transfer. The money comes. And I didn't know that. Okay. So if you feel stuck, look for ways to curate, to intentionally create a different narrative for your finances. There are resources out here. Once again, the Job Liberation Summit is going to be helpful for you. I think Dr. Roshini Brown is there, and she is a financial psychologist. So if you need to talk to somebody who is trained and focuses on finances, get in there with her. Okay. That's not my wheelhouse. However, there are people out here. There are Black women specifically out here ready to help you change your financial depression into expression. Next space, spirituality. My God, on today. Okay, listen, let me tell you this. Spirituality is so tricky for Black women because many of us, it is very common for Black women specifically to grow up in the Black church. I have a lot of thoughts about Black church. My story with church is I grew up Methodist in the Virgin Islands, which is a very regimented, it's not Catholic, but it's Catholic-esque. It's a Protestant expression of religion, but it's, not the same as Catholicism, but not as free and out as non-denominational churches up here. Came to the States, backslid all out into the world for a while. And then in my 20s for 3 or 4 years. And then in my 20s, joined a non-denominational church here in St. Louis, went to that church and was an active member for 20 plus years. And when the pandemic hit, I ended up not going back. There's a long story in there, but that's basically the gist of me. I'm going to offer this to you with all of the love and grace and understanding of the traditions. That's the word I'm going to pick. And messaging that we get in our spiritual spaces. Just consider. Just consider, okay? Because this is another touchy one. This is like depression. I'm out here. I'm out in the deep now with these topics. Spirituality, specifically Christianity, Black Christianity, is a touchy subject, okay? But I want you guys to consider this. Remember what I said. Depression is shrinking it down. Expression is expanding it. God is big, God is expansive, and God is unlimited. If you crack open your Bible, and even if you're not a Christian, okay, the divine is a big, expansive thing. It's unlimited, and it cannot be confined by the small understanding of man. So if you are in spaces, that's what I'm going to say, that continually keep trying to legalize and confine you, and therefore your expression of the divine, I want you to consider that might be part of why you are depressed. Oh, thanks. Listen, God, you helped me say that. Did y'all see how God helped me say that? Because that was my experience. I'm going to hip you to that in a second. March 2020, I was one of those people. I'm going to bust the door wide open. I can't believe they shut the church down. I got to get back in. I got to. 3 to 4 months later, I had an experience with God. Don't have time to go into that all the way. When I tell you, God had to slowly walk me through what I just said to you and showed me. For me personally, I'm not saying for you, I'm just giving you an example of something I want you to think about, okay? If you are in a space of spirituality, Christian or not, and that space requires for you to fit in and depresses you. What is depression? Let me look at my thing again. Depression is to press down, to limit, to, right? If that space requires you to do that, then remember, depression is the opposite of expression. You may be experiencing a validly depressed response to a space that is confining your religious or divine expression in a way that is not intended. Let me tell y'all, if you're a Christian, let me tell y'all something. My Bible says, and I'm looking up because I have it on the wall. Okay. I have it in the Amplified and the Message version. The fruit of the Spirit, right? What is fruit? It's pineapples. But fruit is the produce. We're in spring right now. So spring is all about what you produce, right? What does that mean, Roshini? It means if something is walking in spiritual, the result of the spiritual presence in a thing. That's what the fruit of the Spirit is, right? You will know a tree by its fruit, right? So if you don't see this fruit, that's not the tree. Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all what, let's see, which one do you want? I'm gonna go with the Message version. If you don't see this fruit, then maybe you are having a valid response to a depressing situation in the spiritual space. Okay. If you don't see affection for others, this is from Galatians 5:22 through 23. And even if you're not a Christian, this will helpful. Just listen. I'm just trying to help you. If you don't see exuberance about life, serenity, willingness to stick with things, a heart of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people, loyal commitments, no need to force your way in life. No need to force your way in life. Okay. If you don't see an ability to direct energies wisely, the Amplified version says the fruit of the Spirit, meaning if you don't see this, it is depressing. If you don't see love, if you don't see an unselfish concern for other people, if you don't see joy, if you don't see peace, if you don't see patience, which is not just the ability to wait, it's how people act while they're waiting. Yeah. If you don't see kindness, and if you don't see goodness, and if you don't see faithfulness, and if you don't see gentleness, then boo boo, you might be in a validly depressing space. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. What do? You change the activity, you discern the health of the space, and then you change what you do. That's what activity is, how you show up as an expression of your spirituality. Otherwise, you may be depressed because it's depressing. What else, Roshini? Creative expression. Creative expression. My definition of joy, this is another one of those definitions I came up with. I don't know. I never heard anybody say this, but it works for me. Okay. My definition of joy is knowing that you have agency to create the life that you want, right? I believe that we are all creative beings. And I believe that we are made in the image of a creator. That's what I believe. Okay. Therefore, we have agency to create. So how is joy that, Roshini? Joy means that the lights come on and you realize that you're driving this thing. You are in a co-creator space. And the minute I see a Black woman realize, oh, I am not a victim of this thing, I am actually co-creating, that is when the lights come on. That is when the joy starts. That is when the fruit starts. That is when the expression starts and the depression starts to diminish. That's what I have seen. Okay. So I would love for you to assess, what are you creating? What are you putting out into the world? If you are living your life feeling bridled, stifled, silenced, shattered, shrunken, and shoved down, then boo boo, nothing's wrong with you. You are having a validly, I'm going to keep saying this because it's going to hit somebody one day. You are having a validly depressing response to a validly depressing thing. And you need to figure out how to create your thing, whatever your thing is. And I know there's somebody out there saying, well, I'm not creative. I don't mean art, although it could be art. I don't mean dance, although it could be dance. It could be starting a YouTube channel about finances. It could be being the most incredible mom on the planet. It could be a bakery. I don't know what your creation is. Okay. You could be the queen of, I don't know, spreadsheets. You could be an astronaut. But if you know that that there's something bigger in you, and you don't have an environment where you can express that creativity out into the world, then you might be depressed, because that, my friend, is depressing. You're lacking creative health. Right? Because remember, I told you, what is health? Health is the absence of disease and infirmity. It's the absence of depressing, right? So I just want you to think about that. Next, okay, I'm looking at my time. I gotta pick up the pace. Other places that I want you to assess that could be causing you to feel depressed, boo boo. Okay. Your environment. This is your home, like, okay, all of the environments. Just think of yourself and think of orbitals of where you are. So your space, like my office, for example, or my home. I'm gonna stop there for right now and I'm gonna keep going. You might be depressed because the environment in which you exist is depressing. How does that show up, Roshini? In a home environment, it could be too cluttered. It could be too dark. You could live too close to a noisy street and the noise bothers you. You could live with people who are unhealthy and depressing, right? It could be it could be cluttered or dirty, whether because you have some reason why you're showing up that way in the world, or the people that you live with have some reason that they are showing up in that way in the world, right? So like your home environment could be depressing. And so you could do everything you want to try to not be depressed. You could medicate yourself into oblivion. But if you don't address the root cause of the environment that you're in being depressing, then that's why you're depressed. That's what this video is about. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. The location of where you live could be depressing. Listen, and I'm talking about the physical location of your home, the building, the apartment, the whatever. The surrounding areas that you live around could be unsafe in many ways. It could be unsafe when it comes to violence. It could be unsafe when it comes to proximity to unhealthy people in your home and outside your home. It could be unsafe because you're just surrounded by non-Black people and all these people out here looking at you crazy, and you have to like contort yourself into a different human being because you live in a suburb where nobody understands why you have, like, why your Blackness is the way it is. Okay. You could feel unsafe, and that could be depressing, and nobody's going to tell you that because nobody's going to be like, oh, living in a really nice suburb with all these white people basically is depressing for your Blackness. But it could be, because you could be having to shave off parts of yourself. Let's keep going. What about the city you live in? What about the state you live in? Okay. I live in Missouri. Missouri's a red state. What, it's a lot going on. Okay. I am still here because of my son and his medical needs. Your girl is surrounded by things she don't agree with. Okay. However, you might be depressed because you are surrounded and living in an environment. So we're talking about environmental expression, environmental activity, environmental health. You are literally living in an environment that is depressing. You can never show up fully as yourself. Let's keep going. What about the country? If you are part of the Exodus Summit community, then you already know that there is a large contingent of Black women that are choosing to live outside of the United States. Okay. As you heard me say, I am living in Missouri right now. I am born in the United States Virgin Islands, and I have dual citizenship in the British Virgin Islands as well. I've spent a lot of my life traveling. I have lived in Spain. I have lived in New York. I've visited Africa. I've been all over the world. Amen. Maybe the country is not a good fit for you. And I want you to think about that. Is the country a good fit for you? Is the state a good fit for you? Is the city a good fit for you? What about your suburb? What about your home? What about the inside of your home? What about your office, your bedroom? Do you need to change something that can help you express and show up more fully as yourself? Okay, what else do I have? Physical expression, activity, and health. This one is simple enough. This is how you look, how you move your body, and how much your body has the absence of disease or infirmity. If you are showing up in the world, listen, we all have bodies, okay? Adi, 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 adi. Sorry, I had to. Sorry, that came out without my consent, okay? Y'all know when I'm trying to be serious, I still am not serious. We all have physical bodies, yes? You are not a victim of your body. And I know, listen, let me say this real quick. I am not a person that has dealt with a lot of body image issues, although my therapist did say I had some body image issues. We can go into that later, right? But I haven't had like deep body image issues in a way that has been like harming of myself, right? And so I understand that this is a very delicate topic. However, I do want to offer to you that you do get to curate, you get to create, you get to intentionally show up physically how you want to. So let's just say that your physical body is not as healthy as you would want it to be. Maybe you're putting things in it that you know are negatively affecting you. Maybe you're not hydrating. Okay, maybe you're not minding your business. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe you are not doing skincare. Maybe you are not going to the gym. Maybe you are not dressing how you want to. Like I said, maybe you can't wear your hair the way you want to. Okay, I heard Angela Kanu. She is a social worker and an emotional wellness coach. And I saw her speaking to someone. I don't know whose video was on because I saw her on a lot of videos. And she has braids in her hair with pink ends. And the person asked her something about, her previous life in a it might have been Kamani, in a toxic job environment and her pink braid. And Angela said the pink braids are because she used to want to wear her hair like that when she was a social worker and she couldn't. So now, as a reminder to herself that she is liberated and free, she puts the pink braids in her hair. Listen, why y'all think y'all see all these pineapples all over the place? Okay. Anyway, are you showing up physically how you actually want to look? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Okay. You trying to get a junk? You got trying to get a little bit more junk in the trunk? Okay. How do you want to show up? If you are walking around in a physical expression that is not as healthy, that does not look like the you that you want to be, if you are being forced to show up physically in a way that is not how you want to present yourself, then you are, say it with me, having a validly depressing response to a validly depressing situation, boo-boo. You might need to figure out ways to extricate yourself. The answer is not to stay in a depressing situation and figure out how to work it. I understand that that happens sometimes, but I'm just offering to you that you might be depressed because waking up and having to wear your hair, have your body be, have your clothing be, have your, right, what you do and don't do in a space could be depressing. Do you want to go to walk for walks every day, but you can't because your neighborhood feels unsafe? That could be depressing. What you need is to figure out a plan to create what you want, which is an environment where you can go to walk, right? So your environment starts to match who you are authentically, and your physical expression and activity starts to match who you are authentically. Yeah. Otherwise, if that's the true desire of your heart, but you're not able to show up that way, you might be depressed validly. The last two things I have are material expression, activity, and health. What does that mean, Roshini? It means things. Your things. Okay. We live in America. America is a very materialistic society. It is a capitalist society. It is a consumerist society. All of us are keeping up with the Jones and the Jenkins and the Jacksons. Okay. And every single time you get on TikTok right now, somebody trying to sell you an African net sponge, which is amazing, by the way. I own 2 of them. Skin feels like butter. I don't know what to tell y'all. Okay. They got me. All right. Everybody trying to sell you something. Everybody got something, right? Even me, I got something. Everybody got something. Okay. We live in a society where things are coming at us. Things are coming at us. Things. Is your material world, not to be mistaken with Madonna's material world, is your material world an authentic expression of you? Right? Or are you doing something, showing up with your things in a way that is expected of you, but not really what you want? What does that look like, Roshini? It's that you own 2 Teslas. You know you can't make them payments, boo-boo. And you don't even like Teslas like that. You want a Volkswagen Bug. You want a lime green Volkswagen Bug so you could put fresh flowers in the little flower holder every Monday, but because people will look at you crazy, you want a lime green Volkswagen Bug and you want to get the side of it painted with Care Bears, okay? Because ain't nothing wrong with a Care Bear. Look fun shiny right there, okay? But you're afraid. You are depressed. You are squashing yourself. You are silencing yourself. You are bridling yourself, and you are fitting into a societal norm where you are financially extending yourself out into the world. And you have a dark blue Tesla because that's what people say you're supposed to have. Everybody at your job bought a Tesla. You bought a Tesla. Now you over here struggling and you eating ramen at the house. But right? That is depressing. And your mood is low because you are stifling yourself. You are unable to show up in material spaces as you. Look around the room behind me. I am 47. I'm going to be 48 next month. Before I got on this video, I fixed my Care Bear and my pineapple. This is Penelope, by the way. It's an inside joke. Okay. And this one, I forgot. Delaney gave me this. I forgot what I named this one. I got to look and see what the name is. Okay. And there's another Squishmallow pineapple down there on the floor. It's a lot going on. Okay. But everything behind me is intentional. Do y'all see this? That's a Barbie in a wheelchair. I can't. This is a Dora Milaje doll that my nephew gave me because my nephew loves me. Let's come down. This is a bag of potato chips with my niece's face on it that became decoration. Here we go. A entire pineapple onesie that I do wear. Okay. Because I'm a grown woman and that's my business. As Tabitha said, if you come down here, cow toy from a friend, book about a slave rebellion that potentially my family was a part of in the Virgin Islands, ducky lamp, okay, that I ganked from one of my son's previous schools. They gave it to me. I didn't steal it. And many, many more. Okay. This is intentional. You know why am I? Oh, I forgot this. This is a pink pom-pom that was a gift from one of my coaching clients because I have a blue and white pom-pom. And I was using it on one of the calls because that's how I be acting up in the calls. And she heard me say that I wanted a pink pom-pom and she sent them to me. My material expression is very curated and very intentional and very much aligned with showing up 100% as Roshini and very much aligned with I'm going to show up as me in spaces that allow me to be authentically me. And if I can't show up as me and I have to break off pieces of myself, you could choke. Y'all heard how my voice changed? Well, let me tell you what, once I started expressing myself more and more every day, showing up as 1% more Roshini every single time I got into the space, the depression started to lift. Okay. Because what is depression? It is the opposite of expression. Hopefully this is helping somebody. Okay. The last space that I want you to assess is your mental expression, your mental activities, your mental health, right? This is a space that we are all very used to. It is the space that depression typically is categorized into. Although you heard me tell you that depression is a holistic experience of being limited, lowered, shrunken, and shaved off, right? Depression is not just mental. Depression is relational. Depression can be social. Depression can be impact-based. Depression can be financial. Depression can be, it's absolutely spiritual, okay? Depression can be creative depression, environmental depression, physical depression, material depression. Oh, I forgot one. I skipped one. I just realized on my list, okay? And identity depression. I'm gonna get to that last. And it's definitely your mental health. If you are not taking into account the things that are necessary to heal and curate optimal mental health for yourself, which is unique to every individual, then you may be validly depressed because you're not taking care of your mental health, boo-boo, okay? And what your mama needs and what your auntie Pookie needs, you might not need. First of all, check the fruit before you pick from the tree, okay? I do not pick from trees with fruit I don't want. I'm gonna say that again. I don't pick from trees with fruit I don't want. If your mother is telling you that you don't need something for your mental health, I want to offer to you, do you want the mental health that your mother has? If she has created a state of mental health that you feel is admirable and that you feel you would also like to obtain, then listen to her. She can help you. But if you look at her and it's not there, check the tree, boo-boo, before you pick the fruit. Same thing with your dad, your aunt, your cousin, your sister, your pastor. I'm out here. I'm out here now. Okay. If you have a spiritual leader and they're telling you all the stuff God said to say it, so I'm going to say it, and you see what they have actually created in their lives, do you want that? Do you want that? You don't have to tell people you don't want what they have produced. You don't have to tell people you don't want their fruit, okay? If you are a Christian, the Bible says you will know a tree by its fruit. I just told y'all what the fruit of the Spirit is. Okay. Do you see this? Do you see God's presence? Do you see the Spirit? Check the tree first. Don't take advice from everybody. Mama and all of them might mean well, but mama and all of them might be coming with all kind of generational patterns. Okay. All kind of generational patterns. They're depressed and they don't know how to tell you how to be anything except depressed. They don't know how to tell you anything except how to show up shrunken, broken, lowered, constricted, and limited in your relationships, your community, your work, your finances, your spirit, your identity, your creation, your material stuff, how you physically show up. They don't know how to tell you anything else, and especially in the mental health space. I hope this is helping somebody. Some of the biggest freedoms I experienced was when I let go of bad fruit. I don't know why I'm stuck here, but somebody needs to hear this. I'm trying to move on. Listen, we have an adherence, Black women, we have an adherence to legacy that is admirable and beautiful. It is almost like a tribal thing where we take the wisdom from others and from our elders and we absorb it into ourselves. We are very much a communal type of being. And that is a beautiful thing because ain't nobody going to support you like a Black woman. But also, everything has a light and a shadow side. And the light side is the beautiful support that you're going to just get as a Black woman out here in these streets when you align yourself with other healing Black women. But the dark side, boo boo, is that you may feel a strong, okay, Wagner epigenetic at this point, a strong pull to adhere to cultural patterns and messaging so of other people on the shadow side that have not created the life that you want and that are only leading you into a depressive state in all the spaces. Listen. Did I say it? I said it. I said it because in 2024, Roshini decided to show up as 1% more Roshini every single day. Okay. Check the tree before you pick the fruit. Roshini, why is your logo a pineapple? You know what God revealed to me? Because I always said it was an emblem of my joy, but it's an emblem of my results. It's an emblem of the fruit. And the fruit that I am creating in my life is intentional joy, intentional relationships, intentional impact, okay? Intentional finances, intentional adherence and interaction with God's presence, spirituality. The last one, which was the one I forgot, is intentional identity. What is identity? Identity is who are you? It's the answer to the question, who am I? Black women specifically, we have a tendency to, when I ask who you are, a lot of Black women have a tendency to answer with roles that they play in other people's lives. What is this? Why is that? It's because we are trained from childhood to show up in the roles that we play in other people's lives. If I say, who are you? People will tell me the job they do. People will tell me that they're a mom, that they're a sister, that they're an aunt, that they're a parishioner at this church. And all of those things are true. But I would like to offer to you that showing up as who you are could come from a place of inherent character traits, okay? As opposed to your definition of self always coming as a reflection of others. Help God, I'm trying to get the words out. Who you are is something that was divinely put in you from jump. And our experience growing up quickly starts to, like Men in Black, it starts to erase from us our attributes to the point that you will have a grown woman and she does not know how to describe who she is beyond the roles that she plays in other people's lives. And those roles are admirable and those roles are beautiful. But if you only have a definition of self via roles, you could be depressed because what I tell you depression is lowering, shrinking, shaving off, putting down. So what does that look like, Roshini? It looks like, Roshini, who are you? I am curious. I'm hilarious. I'm intelligent. I'm enough. I am light. It doesn't hurt that my name actually means light, but I am light. Okay? I am the fruit of the divine. I am the image of God, made in his image, and a reflection of that divine creation here on the earth. Yeah. And I could keep going. I am confident. I am caring, right? I am impactful. Did I say I was funny? I'm funny. Amen. Your girl's kind of cute too. I don't know how many of y'all see me in person, but okay. There's a lot of me that is my identity that I continue to let expand. So here's the thing. Why are we talking about this with depression? Because if you have to shave off, if you have to remove, if you do not know who you are, right? You might be validly depressed, boo-boo, because you are living in an identity-less depressing situation. By the way, I do have a workbook. I'm gonna throw this up on the screen. I didn't even think about this, but I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. I made a free workbook back in the day. You can grab it. It's called Who Am I? The Essential Identity Workbook. It's a ebook download that you can get at glamazini.com/who am I. Link is in the information box. If you literally are sitting here thinking, girl, I've never thought about that. Okay. Like for me, I value family. I'm interested in dance. These are the things that who Roshini is. It has nothing to do with the other people. And when you start to know who you are, you can show up whole, authentic, belonging, expressive, not depressed in all of these spaces. Anyway, download the workbook, free workbook, glamazini.com/who am I. Link is in the information box. Okay. So what did we cover? I'm gonna say it real quick and then I gotta run. Okay. Why are you depressed, boo-boo? What is the obvious yet frequently overlooked reason why you might be out here depressed than a mug? Black woman might be out here depressed than a mug. Okay. You might be depressed because this mess is depressing. Hello? Depressing. It might be depressing. That's the answer. Your relationships might be validly depressing. Your social expression, your community, or lack thereof might be validly depressing. The work that you do might be validly depressing. Your financial situation might be validly depressing, right? Spirit, identity, creativity, your environment that you live in or you exist in, your physical expression, your material expression, and your mental expression might be depressed. What is depressed, Russian? Depressed means lowered, stunted, stopped, shrunken, not allowed to expand, grow, and express. Okay? Depression is the opposite of expression. What is the expression? To me, expression is the divine. I know it. Listen, y'all might not. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Okay. If I am made in the image of a creator God, and the first thing God told me about himself in my Bible, okay, in Genesis, the first thing God told me about himself, I heard Myron Golden say this, is in the beginning, God created. Boop, that's it. He's creative, right? If I'm made in his image, I can create. And if I can create, that means I can express. And if I can express, that means there's always a way of escape for depression. Because why, Roshini? Because expression is the opposite of depression. So if any of those spaces that that I just went over with you, you can either, hopefully you did it during the video, and if not, come back and watch the video. Okay. If any of those spaces feel stunted, bridled, you cannot show up as your whole authentic self. It is an act of revolution. Okay. It is an act of self-preservation. It is an act of self and therefore divine expression to figure out how to create a more expansive you in all of those spaces. And boo-boo, I can't guarantee it to you. I can't guarantee anything to you, okay? Because we are all different people. But I'm going to tell you what my experience has been. And I'm going to tell you what my experience has been with my coaching clients. When I work with my coaching clients on this, especially if they're working with a mental health professional tandem, I've had coaching clients tell me that their therapists are like, who is your coach? Okay. I have helped women come out of dark bedrooms. I have had calls where I started with the woman on the call and she was in the darkness rolled up in a burrito. Okay. Talking about this is it, it's over. Okay. And when I tell you, if you consider, that's what I'm going to say, what I have shared with you, you might start to see that you have the ability to create something different that is less and less depressing every single day. You're welcome, Celestial. Oh, that's a beautiful name. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's nice. That's beautiful. You're welcome. I'm going to assume that's Nadia telling me. Hi, Nadia, boo boo. Kamani said, yes, check the tree. Listen, before you pick the fruit, okay? Because that fruit, you might not want that fruit. You might be allergic. Okay. That fruit might take you out. That fruit might be horrible. There might not be any fruit on there. Okay. There might not be no fruit on that tree. People like, listen, I'm here for this. People like to give advice. Ain't no fruit on their tree. That's the one that be killing me. People be telling you advice in life and we be listening to them. That's the part that was for me. I used to listen to people give me advice where in hindsight, I look back and not only did I not like their fruit, they had no fruit. They had not created any results in this area of their life. However, they was just running their mouth telling me what they think might work, what they hope might work, what their pastors told them would work, what their generational people told them would work. It didn't work for anybody else, but I'm getting the advice. Just check, listen, y'all. It'll help you. Okay, anyway, once again, let me respond. Let me remind you guys of stuff. The Job Liberation Summit is May 18th to May 19th online. The speaker lineup of Black women is amazing. Links on how you can participate is a virtual summit that provided Black women who are in toxic jobs with practical strategies and tools so that they can get up out of the toxic job and claim their well-being and hopefully start having more expression in their life and experiencing less depression in their life. If you want to register for it, the link for it is in the information box of this video. Also, if you would like to work with me as your coach, the soft launch of the Pineapple Crowns coaching membership, my coaching membership for Black women, amen, and West Indian women, by the way, Black and West Indian women who are committed to breaking cycles, healing, and intentionally creating a whole, authentic, expressive, and joyful life that they deserve. Join the waitlist, thepineapplecrowns.com. Enrollment will open on Saturday, April 13th, which is a week from tomorrow. Also, I am only going to let 20 women enroll. Why Roshini? I wasn't going to do that, but I have been intentionally practicing listening to what the still small voice tells me to do for many reasons. And while I was getting this thing ready the other day, the voice told me only 20 women. So I'm gonna just do 20 women for now. Okay. I'm gonna open it up again next month. But if you want to be in the know, join the wait list. And when it opens on the 13th, get in where you fit in, boo-boo. Okay. More information about that is at thepineapplecrowns.com. Thank you. Hibiscus is one of my favorite flowers, by the way. Hibiscus and bougainvillea. All right, you guys, I'm gonna run off. I hope that you create the most incredible weekend, and I will see you in the next video. And until the next video, be well, be encouraged. Check the tree before you pick the fruit. Let me show you this one since I don't want to knock down anything. Do y'all know I have this? And yes, it worked. There's a pineapple, y'all. Bye. Love you guys.